Some say they have seen a gigantic living being, several stories high. We're all going to die. Oh no, run if you can, 'cause Tokyo, Japan is in for big trouble. Looks like Godzilla is real, and once he gets here, he'll produce things to rubble. There's no time to pack. Run and don't look back. Careful where you hide. Many won't survive. By now he's well on his way, and you're gonna pay if you don't get to racing. But look up in the skies, we're facing demise from an alien invasion. Yes, he is destructive, and we hope he won't advance. But as it turns out, he might just be our only chance. Save the lizard, he will make a stand. City filled with screams and deadly laser beams, a full-scale attack. Can he hold them back? This is a dangerous place, the city's a waste, battlegrounds epic. Both sides are pummeled and fried with nuclear eyes and death rays electric. Yes, he is destructive, we have seen this in the past. But as it turns out, it's an advantage that he has. Save the lizard, he will kick their ass. The air has gotten thick with broken glass and steel and brick. The aliens are no more. Hear Godzilla's mighty roar. And so the battle was won, and when it was done, he retreated to the ocean. And if we're ever attacked, I bet he'll be back, at least that's what I'm hoping. Yes, he is destructive, partly from gargantuan girth. But as it turns out, you know it could have been much worse. Save the lizard, he will save the earth.
Hey everybody, welcome to the stream. My name is Bryce Tomlinson, and just gonna bring up the stream here. So as you can see on the left here, we have the Facebook chat and the YouTube and Twitch chat as it comes up. So your messages will be preserved for all eternity in the stream that is going out to Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube all at the same time. And I'm sorry, my lighting seems to be a little dark. It's a little weird. I'm not sure what's going on. Anyway, welcome to the stream. Today we have a particular topic. As we do each week, we have a particular topic, but it is a live Q&A, and I am wide open to attempting, to the best of my ability, to answer any of your questions about keto, nutrition, and health as it is possible. I am not a doctor. I cannot give medical advice. As such, if you need medical advice, you should seek out a medical practitioner, and of which I am not. I just happen to have done a few thousand hours of studying medical matters, studies, and nutrition. I do study the studies. I study the abstracts, and I study who funds the studies and their methodology. I'm very interested in finding out new research and revamping my thoughts as new research reveals new bits of science that we previously didn't know. And I'm also all up into debunking bad pseudoscience, stuff that just was never science and has just been reported as science all along. I will be doing a book giveaway later this hour, and I just wanted to let you know that the book giveaway is for people who share this video. And let me go close the door to the studio here real quick. There we go. Hey, it's all in the name of good quality live streaming, right? So, anyway, what this our book giveaway today is going to be given away to a random person who shares this video. So if you share this video on Facebook, Twitter, or some social media, anywhere, just put down that you shared it. Tell me where you shared it. And if you put that into the chat, then I will select a random person who shared this video at the end of this video to give away a book. And it also stands to reason that if you are a person who has won a book in the last 4 weeks, I will not be sending a book to you. However, you know, go ahead and share it anyway, because a lot of people need to have this information. I want to give a big shout out to Vengeance over there on YouTube for moderating our chat and keeping the trolls at bay. He says he's hungry. He's going to be right back. So don't troll while he's off at the refrigerator raiding the fridge. Anyway, today's topic is going to be the top 10 go-to keto snacks. And in fact, whether you should snack or when you should snack, if you should snack. But we're going to go over my top 10 choices for keto snacks. And I will tell you that none of the products that I'm going to talk about are keto specific marketed products. So they're not specifically keto products. What they are is they're real food. And so we will be talking about that upcoming. And since we are streaming over on Facebook and on Twitch and on YouTube simultaneously, we'll be interacting back and forth between you guys and your messages as you are posting them. So I'm watching the Facebook chat over here, and as well keeping an eye on the Twitch chat. I know it shows up in the screen, but it's also much easier for me to see it actually on the stream itself. So let's get on with it here. I'm just going to pull up this one bit here so that I can make sure that I'm seeing the Twitch chat live as we are presenting it. And then as well, I'm going to go over here and pause that so that I'm not using some. Oh, you grabbed some keto pudding. Right. Good luck with that. All right. So I want to start off with my number 10, and I'm going to go from the worst thing that I would snack on to the best thing that I would snack on, and none of these are bad, okay, but all of them have some sort of stipulation to them. So, or at least most of them do. So my number 10 would be dark chocolate. And by dark chocolate, I mean 85% or better. I prefer 90% dark chocolate because as I've been doing keto, as I've been doing low carb, high fat, I have noticed that my taste for sweet stuff has really super diminished. And so I don't have that taste for the sweetness in chocolate that I used to have. So I used to just really jones for that sweetness in dark chocolate. And I don't anymore. In fact, I found Trader Joe's has something called Absolute Black, and it is a particular chocolate bar that is 100% cacao. So it's all the way chocolate and none of the sweetener at all. So when we're talking about dark chocolate, we're not talking about 70%, which is still a lot of sugar. We're talking about really getting into like less sugar or no sugar at all. And that's always the best, is to have no sugar at all, if you have the chance to get that. So I'm looking at the Facebook stream and it looks a little weird. Hang on a second, guys. So let me know if yours is glitching out. I see on mine it looks good, and then over here on the playback it looks really wonky, so I'm not sure why it looks that way. Let me put this to... That's really strange. So you guys let me know in the chat if it's glitching out or something, because over here it looks fine. And then over here, it looks a little weird. There we go. It's straightened out. Okay. And I just wanted to put that up so that I could make sure I was seeing the chat as it comes up. All right, guys. So the dark chocolate bit. So you really want to go with something that's super dark chocolate. The darkest, the better, you know, the darker, the better. And it's, to me, I consider dark chocolate to be like, seriously, it's like vitamins. You can handle pretty bitter things food-wise. Yeah. Well, the thing about that Absolute Black is that it's not really bitter. It's not sweet at all, but it's really smooth. To me, I would compare it to the, like in the old days, chocolate covered espresso beans. And I would really love it if somebody would make like a, you know, an Absolute Black chocolate covered espresso bean. That would be really great. So let's go on to my number 9. Number 9 is going to be fat bombs. So fat bombs are something, and it's not the NCIS fat bomb. It is, a fat bomb is basically just like, it's like a fat drop that you make it out. Some people make them frozen. Some people make them cooked. Some people make them savory. Some people make them sweet. But basically it's something that is almost exclusively made of fat, and it'll usually have some kind of flavor to it. People make chocolate fat bombs or lemon or orange fat bombs. They make them out of cream cheese, coconut oil, heavy whipping cream. Yeah, I used to eat chocolate covered espresso beans, but most of them are covered with milk chocolate, and I can't. Yeah, milk chocolate's got a little too much sugar in it. But the fat bombs, like I just made a bunch of fat bombs basically out of some coconut oil, some cream cheese, and some dark chocolate that I had in my van that melted down when it got a little warm in the van. And I've had them in the van all winter. It's never been a problem. But now that the temperatures are warming up, it gets a little warm in the van. And so I had like a puddle of chocolate in this box. And so I saved what I could in the packages and I melted it down. I melted it all together. I had some Absolute Black. I had some Green and Black, which is 85%. And then I had some Lindt 90s and Sam's Choice 90s that I kept in there for snacking on a square at a time or something. And so what I would say is, if you're going to eat dark chocolate, you know, regulate it down to whatever your body can tolerate without like breaking you out of ketosis. Dark chocolate, you know, a square at a time. But the fat bombs, I would say eat a fat bomb maybe once or twice a day, but don't make it like a regular part of your diet so much. Make it a part of your regimen, especially I depended on them, especially in the beginning. When I first started out keto, it was really, really important for me to not fall into temptation, you know? So if it's between eating a fat bomb and like going off the rails and eating something really bad for you, then what you want to do is you want to make sure that you do not fall off the rails. Because that is going to be your total downfall. Sorry, I'm fixing this. Yeah, that's going to be your total downfall, is falling off the rails. So if it's between you falling off the rails and eating one of these snacks, be it fat bombs or dark chocolate, then definitely go with one of these snacks, because it's better than completely losing your mind and falling off the rails. So that's going to be an important thing to remember. Yeah, the darker the coffee, the better too. Yes. The darker the chocolate, the better. And the darker the coffee, the better. You know, it doesn't get much darker than eating the beans, vengeance. Anyway, so the fat bombs are, if you go on Pinterest or on YouTube, you can find tons of recipes for fat bombs. What I will tell you is that not all fat bombs are keto. So for instance, you're looking up a recipe for anything, right? If you're looking up like a keto mug cake, don't just look up mug cake, because you'll find recipes for all kinds of things. And people are making mug cakes with coconut sugar, which is just sugar, or they're making it with honey, which is just sugar. You know, they're making it with all these different things. It's not keto. So make sure that you're looking up specifically keto stuff, and then check with somebody that you really trust. I don't care if it's myself or, you know, for instance, it could be Sherry. It could be Sheridan or Kathy over there in the 100% healthy fats, low carbohydrate group. And, you know, people like that I trust, you know, they would be able to tell me if something is actually keto friendly. I know Kathy would be the one that would say, you know, no sweeteners at all. but I would say, you know, if it's between that and falling off the rails, you know what, I'm going to go with a keto snack. So a fat bomb is really just, it's just fat. In fact, some people say, you know, that just eating a square of butter is a fat bomb, which it is, really, essentially. I have been known to take coconut oil with me to conventions and things. And while I would be out there being an exhibitor or something, I would take a spoonful of coconut oil. If your stomach can tolerate it, which mine can, then, you know, a spoonful of coconut oil, and that keeps me from being hungry for the whole rest of the day. Let me go over here and check on that. Oops, I'm out the wrong window here. I am totally at the wrong window. Sorry, guys. Hey, here we go. Todd says, hey, Bryce, I think M&Ms have dark chocolate inside them now. Not sure how much of that is pure. Well, Todd, M&Ms, I have a candy coating. It's just all sugar. And M&Ms have never been low carbohydrate. So M&Ms, yeah, dark chocolate, but it's still sugar. Tons and tons of sugar in those M&Ms. Just because it's dark chocolate doesn't mean that it's low carbohydrate. So I would stick with one that is, you know, like 1 gram of carbohydrate per serving or better. That would be the best. So go with pure dark chocolate if you can get it. Let's go on to number 8. So we talked about the dark chocolates, which is number 10. Number 9, which is fat bombs. Let's go with avocado. Okay. Avocado is just one of nature's most awesome foods ever. It's really high in healthy fats. It is a great source of potassium. It's got tons more potassium than a banana does. And for the net carbs, it's really not that high. The impact of it is pretty low because you've got tons and tons of fat. The ratio of fat and protein to carbohydrate in an avocado is pretty fantastic. I would say that if you eat enough avocado to get all of your potassium for the day, then you're not really going low carb anymore, because avocados do have some amount of carbohydrate in them. But out of all of nature's fruits, it's maybe the lowest carb of all of them, and it's certainly the highest fat fruit that you can find per serving. I'd say for most people, try to stick with like a half an avocado. I personally will eat upwards of a whole avocado a day, but find out where your threshold is. You may find that, you know, it might just be just a little too much carbohydrate for your day. So use them wisely, but avocado is just a nutritional bomb in your diet. So just you know, get some avocado in when you can. You know, you might use avocado oil like I do for making mayonnaise, but just, you know, avocado is just very rich in nutrition. So avocado is an awesome snack, and you don't have to keep them refrigerated. See, most of these that I have here that I've listed, you don't have to keep refrigerated. That's the bonus of all of this. Is this something that you can carry around with you? Fat bombs, typically, most fat bombs, I say, because we tend to stick with saturated fats. They are solid at room temperature, but you get them much above that, then they are molten. So that would melt in your purse or in your handbag, or, you know, unless you have a cooler around, you might not be able to carry around fat bombs. But you could carry around an avocado, and you could carry around some dark chocolate as long as it's not too warm out. So the next one that I have is hard-boiled eggs, and that's something you have to keep refrigerated for the most part. But hard-boiled eggs are a really, especially if you can get farm fresh eggs, if you can get organic hard-boiled eggs, it's great. One of the things I love is that both Costco and Sam's Club both carry organic hard-boiled eggs that are already peeled, so that makes it an easy, simple snack. You know, maybe sprinkle a little bit of salt on there, some salt and pepper, or some other spices. Sometimes I make myself some lazy deviled eggs. You know, one of the most challenging and tedious parts of making deviled eggs is peeling them and boiling and peeling them. So this is something where it's already been done for you. You hate hard-boiled eggs. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry for you. Remember when we had to talk about keto on the phone? How about debunk the video I sent you on Messenger? How do you debunk the video I sent you on Messenger? Oh, yes, the one where there's no really need to debunk it. Vengeance, what I would say is that, you know, Vengeance sent me a video last week about a guy, you know, who said it was the top 5 dangers of keto, and you can look up the video. I would say that the burden of proof is on him. He doesn't have the science to back up what he's talking about. It doesn't. and he says things that are just blanket generalizations that he has no science to back it up. Oh, however, there's tons of studies to support what we do, so I really don't have to debunk him. What I have to do is basically continue to show what I show, and I basically demonstrate that through posting studies and all kinds of stuff to the Facebook group on the regular basis. So I don't really have to debunk him. What he really has to do is bring his science, which he didn't do. He just spouted off a bunch. Apples, you can refrigerate those as well and make them not go bad as quick. Apples are not keto. Apples are almost entirely made of sugar, fructose mostly. And in fact, I would point you to a channel called Sugarbriety. I'll post that right here in the YouTube chat. Sugarbriety. You can look that up on YouTube, and that's got Ben Fury hosting these things. And he has a video where he talks about, is 7 teaspoons of sugar worse than 1 large red delicious apple? And so that's a great example. And he talks about what the dangers of apples would be, you know, for instance, but fructose being the primary sugar that is in fruit and what dangers it gives you. The smell of hard-boiled eggs you can't get past. Yeah, you know, that's true, Vengeance. Especially, you know, like if you've ever had somebody make egg salad in the house with you, then, you know, that's kind of, yeah, I can relate, Vengeance. That's no lie. All right. So what did I say I was at? We went through the fat bombs. We went through the avocados, and we went through hard-boiled eggs. Hard-boiled eggs, you got to keep refrigerated, but you can make the lazy man's deviled eggs with those without having to do the boiling or the peeling if you get the ones that are already done. And to be honest, the ones at Costco and Sam's Club, they're already peeled, and they cost about as much as if you were to buy the equivalent amount of organic eggs. And you don't have to peel them or boil them. They're already done. So that's a great convenience food. We keep a bunch of them in the fridge. I try not to buy too many of them because maybe we don't go through them. Sometimes we don't go through them as fast as we could. So number 6 on my list of the top 10 keto snacks, the go-to keto snacks, would be nuts. And I'm really choosy about nuts. Because although almost all nuts are somewhat low carbohydrate, some of them are not. So for instance, a couple of favorites that I notice a lot of people post on keto groups are cashews and pistachios, which are not particularly low carbohydrate. Pistachios aren't as problematic as cashews, for instance, though, because cashews are a legume and they have some inflammatory properties to them that that make them kind of a questionable addition to your food. Peanuts, again, are they can be inflammatory. They're very high in omega-6. They're extremely low in omega-3, so you can really skew your omega-6 to 3 ratio with nuts pretty quickly, with peanuts specifically. Pecans are one of the best. Macadamia nuts are also extremely good because, especially because they have a very high fat content. Most nuts have a very healthy high fat content. Almonds are pretty good. They're higher carbohydrate count than pecans and macadamias. Macadamias are almost the perfect nut food. And I would say that if you're going to have nuts involved in your ketogenic approach, then I would say limit your nuts to around 1 ounce a day. And you kind of can't go wrong with that guideline because you're probably not going to approach your threshold of carbohydrates with that. Let me go over here and read that. Brazil nuts too. Brazil nuts are okay, yeah. Yeah, and especially they're not a legume. Peanuts and cashews are a legume. I will say that Brazil nuts are super expensive, though. That's one thing, is they're even more expensive per pound than macadamia nuts. So, you know, you can really rack up the bill. So they can be a good snack, but you can also, you know, it can add up pretty quick. I am one for trying to do things on a budget, and I would say that, you know, you for an ounce of Brazil nuts a day, it gets kind of spendy. So the next one that we have up here is, and we are just past the half of the hour, so we're going at a pretty good clip here, and we're getting to the number 5. We're halfway up the list, and that is cheese. Okay. Cheese is one of those debatable topics too, because we want to, of course, avoid fake cheeses. So like processed American cheese, pasteurized processed cheese food products, spray cheese. Velveeta is not cheese. That's what I call it, not cheese. American cheese is not cheese. And in fact, you know, if you go to a lot of fast food restaurants and they serve Swiss cheese, a lot of it's this processed, plasticky, Swiss pasteurized junk that's not really cheese. It's not really any more cheese than American cheese is, or Velveeta is not cheese. So, of course, you want to stick with real cultured dairy cheeses. The sharper, the better. So, for instance, when I first did Atkins, I did a lot of string cheese. So, like, you know, cheese heads, cheese sticks, and with those, you have to remember that one of the ingredients in it is skim milk, and there's skim milk in a lot of cheeses. But the thing about mozzarella is that it's not really that cultured. It's not that sharp. It's not cultured. So a lot of the skim milk still has its lactose intact. So you really got to watch your carbs with string cheese. The sharper cheeses have almost all of the lactose cultured out of them. The actual cultures eat the lactose, and they omit the whey, which is drained off in the process of making it a harder, sharper cheese. So like things like cheddar and Swiss cheeses are better for that. You know, Jarlsberg cheese is a great and not that expensive if you buy it in a large package. Jarlsberg cheese, you can get some of the store brand cheddar cheeses, the sharp cheddar cheeses, for a reasonable price. Hey, thank you for the thumbs up over there on Facebook. And again, I'm gonna let you guys know that that this video is going to be, I'm going to be giving out a book later this hour, and so the more shares this video gets, the better chances you guys have of winning a book. Hey, welcome, Isabel. It's great to have you on the stream. I have seen you lurking about, so it's good to see you on the stream. Thanks for coming. And make sure that you share this. I will be giving away a book to a random person who shares this video. Make sure that you put in the comments where you shared it, and then that way we just have a lot more community bonding between different groups and different pages and stuff. We want to make sure that everybody who is supporting keto is really getting the kind of support that they need, because there's a lot of haters out there. So we went through number 5, which is cheese. Okay, but I also want to talk about another thing with cheese. And you know how I was saying that most of these options here, we talked about dark chocolate, we talked about fat bombs, we talked about avocado, and avocado doesn't need to be refrigerated. We have hard-boiled eggs. Then we went through nuts. Nuts don't need to be refrigerated. Cheese typically needs to be refrigerated. Hi, Maggie. Welcome to the stream. Welcome back. And cheese typically needs to be refrigerated, but you can buy cheese chips or cheese crisps. I know that Safeway sells these cheese, what are they called? Cheese clouds or something like that. Cloud cheese or whatever it is. It's super expensive, right? But you can also get like the Parm crisps from Costco, or the Parmesan crisps from. You can get the cheese wisps from Costco, or the Parm crisps from Sam's Club, and all of those are great options. I would say that stick to the equivalent of 3 to 4 ounces of cheese a day, okay? Because if you go more than that, you're really gonna be getting some carb creep, and there's some other problematic issues with dairy that might interfere, might stall your keto journey, okay? So just be aware that cheese is not always your friend unless you are really, really sticking to moderation with cheese. And some people find that in order to break their stall, they have to do away with dairy altogether. And a lot of people have to start with cheese. So let's go up to number 4, pepperoni sticks. Now, I want to talk about pepperoni sticks for a second because, hey, Tracy, welcome to the stream. Thank you for sharing that, Isabel. Just a little friendly reminder, everybody who shares this video is in the running for winning a book. I will pick a random person who shares this video to a page or to anything. Make sure that you post in the comments that you shared it and where you shared it. And then I'll be giving away a book. And in a little while, later this hour, I will be picking out a person randomly from the people who shared it to win a book. And I have a whole bunch of great books that I would love to share with you guys. So pepperoni sticks, yes, beef sticks, pepperoni sticks. I particularly choose like the Roberto beef pepperoni sticks. A lot of people are worried about nitrates, and I'm just going to stop right there for just a second and say that your leafy green vegetables contain several times more nitrates per serving than, you know, any of your beef jerky, beef pepperoni sticks, Spam, hot dogs, any of those things per serving. Spinach, kale, lettuce, several times, and some would say even several hundred times more concentration of nitrates in those things. The difference is that people don't complain about those because they're not cooked at high temperature. Nitrates don't turn into nitrosamines, which are actually the real danger unless you're cooking them at extremely high temperatures. And none of these beef processed products are cooked at those high temperatures. So, and in fact, bacon's not cooked at any of those high temperatures if you're doing it right. If you're cooking it at 400 degrees in your oven or on your cooktop, you need to back down to like 350 degrees, and then you don't have to worry so much about the nitrates. There are some people who have a special sensitivity specifically to certain nitrates, but that is actually a pretty rare condition. And for the most part, people are making a whole lot of hoopla and a marketing ploy out of nitrates and being nitrate free. But let me go on. The reason why I didn't specifically say jerky is because most beef jerky is not keto. Well, I'm just going to put that out there. Okay. Most beef jerky, and in fact, a lot of pepperoni sticks, not keto at all. It's just way too much sugar. It's not unusual to find 11 to 15 to 20 grams of carbohydrate per serving of beef jerky. And it's like across the board. Jack Links, Roberto, a lot of these very popular. Thank you, Tracy, for the share. And definitely the more shares that we get, the better, because we're getting this information out there and the more chances you have for winning a book. So I really appreciate it. But jerky should not be on anybody's keto list, because jerky in general, almost all beef jerky is just not keto at all. If anybody has a list of really keto-friendly beef jerkies, I would love to have that list to point people in that direction, because I love jerky, and I know a whole lot of people who love jerky, but it is real hard to find jerky that is keto-friendly. So I really get annoyed when I see all these lists of the top 100 or the top 50 keto foods and jerky's on there. Jerky's just, generally speaking, just not keto at all. Sturgis beef jerky. Hey, let me look at that. Sturgis beef jerky isn't keto then? Yeah, most beef jerky just has tons and tons of sugar in it. It's sad. It's sad because it really doesn't need to be. Hey, Blazin, good to see you there. Sorry if I'm a little bit delayed. Yeah, beef jerky is just not your friend for the most part. So you guys can freak out on me if you want. You're welcome to provide your feedback, but pepperoni sticks are mostly safe. They're also a little more difficult to find, but you know, and I'm not talking about Slim Jims. Okay, Slim Jims are junk. It's so full of fillers and nasty stuff. So try to go for one that has as little sugar as possible and no starches. Okay, no starches, especially if it has cornstarch in it. So we do not want any kind of grain at all. So when you're picking out hot dogs and bratwursts and all those kind of stuff, pick out ones that don't have starches, because those starches, it's beyond being problematic with the carbs. Starches have other problems as well that might cause you inflammation and allergy reactions. So, all right. So we've gone through all the way up to the top 7. All right. Or the bottom 7. So now we're into the top 3. Okay. We're coming up on the quarter of the hour. My number 3 pick for the top 3 is pork rinds. Okay, pork rinds are fabulous. Okay, they're high fat. They contain a good amount of protein, and in fact, in many cases, pork rinds have almost an equal amount of protein and fat, which means there's twice as much as far as grams go. There's almost equal grams of protein and fat in pork rinds, and in the number 2 that I will be bringing up as well. So the fat and the protein in pork is extremely bioavailable. And in fact, that's why, for instance, type 2 diabetics that inject insulin, a lot of them are using pork insulin. And there are some that you're using like Humulin or other synthetic insulins, but there's a lot of people still using pork insulin because it's very easily assimilated into the human bloodstream. And pork fat and pork protein is extremely bioavailable. And people talk about how, well, pork, you know, it's toxic because of the parasites and blah, 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 blah. You know what? Just about every meat out there has parasites in it. Chicken has salmonella. Pork has trichinosis or whatever. These things are cured. They are cooked. And when you cook things, you kill off the parasites. That's why you don't get E. coli every time you eat beef. Okay, most beef contains some amount of E. coli in it, and you get rid of that by cooking it. So stop freaking out about parasites in meats. There's parasites in your meat, okay? Your meat, on you, your person. You have parasites in your meat. And if you didn't cook you, somebody who eats you would get sick, okay? So let's just stop freaking out about pork rinds and bacon and pork. But pork rinds are extremely bioavailable. Check this out. I mean, look this up for yourself. Okay, they have a great rendered fat format that's great. And the cool thing is, with pork rinds, you do not need to refrigerate them at all. You can get the great big barrels of pork rinds. Those are really great. You can get, I would say, make sure you stick to plain pork rinds that just have pork and salt, because you'll find that the flavored ones, like the ones that are smoke flavored or mesquite flavored or spicy hot, whatever, those things have MSG in them. And a lot of them have starches in them as well. Starches help to keep those spices sticking to the fatty pork rind. So try to stick to your regular pork rinds. And by the way, I do have a pork rind churros recipe. One of the things that someone asked on one of the groups, what would be a great snack to sneak into a theater instead of eating popcorn, instead of falling off the wagon and eating popcorn? So I posted my video that I made years ago of pork rind churros, where I basically made these cinnamon, they're Truvia sweetened, they're covered with butter and cinnamon and Truvia, and I take these to Super Bowl parties, and they get 8. I'm not joking. They get, you know, people are sitting there watching the game, and they start mowing. They think, oh, pork rind, cinnamon, that's weird, right? But then they start eating them and watching the football game, and they just forget what they're eating. So, the number 2. You guys may think this should be the number 1, but it's the number 2 snack for all keto people, and that is bacon. All right, I'm just putting it right up there at the top of those things that you could eat. The number 2 spot for all of keto snacks is bacon. Now, I choose to buy the cheapest bacon that I can get, you know. And I have a Flip app, which actually Dan Quibel pointed out to us when we were doing the bacon experiment, okay? So back when I did the bacon experiment in October and November, I was under the tutelage of Dan Quibel of the bacon experiment. And he taught me about the Flip app, F-L-I-P-P. So you should put that on your phone, and it will search all your local ad copy to find the greatest deal on just about anything that you're shopping for at all. And so you can look up bacon on there and get the best deal. Now, around where I live, bacon runs about $4 a pound. So if you can get it for less than that, then you're getting a pretty decent deal. But I don't love bacon. Is that bad? Well, Todd, there might be something wrong with you if you don't love bacon. I'm not sure. You could be defective if you don't love bacon. Hey, let's get a whole bunch of hearts over here on the Facebook side for all those people who love bacon. Especially if you think Todd is wrong for not loving bacon. I will be honest. If you have done the bacon experiment, at the end of 30 days, you are jonesing for eating something else. Something other than bacon. I think most people are. But I still love bacon, and I drink bacon in my bacon grease in my coffee. But bacon is a great snack because if you cook it, a lot of times you don't have to refrigerate it. So you can keep what they call purse bacon, right? Purse bacon for the win, right? There might, dude, kind of a strange duck. Okay. Well, I will say you don't love bacon, so that is a little weird. Okay. Actually, you know, I had a friend who said that she doesn't eat red meat, so bacon kind of grosses her out. So I told her, I says, well, here's how you get around that. You take your red meat and you put it out on the counter for a few days, and it turns gray. Then it's no longer gray. Then it's no longer red meat. She didn't like my solution to the problem. But bacon, you can keep it in your. You can keep it in your purse. You can keep it in your console of your car. After you've cooked it, of course, it doesn't break down that quickly. It's pretty much, it's cured. It does keep pretty good. So it'll keep at room temperature for a long time after it's been cooked. I would say don't keep it at room temperature if it's not cooked. But the way I like to do bacon is I take it and put it on a cookie sheet and I fold it over itself in half so that it's like thick. I like my bacon thick and crispy, but I cook it where it's thick, and that makes for just a great snack. And if I want to, I can cut that up and make it into an omelet, and I don't have to wait until the bacon cooks to do that. So bacon, the number 2 of all top 10 keto eats, keto snacks. That brings us to the number 1 top keto snack for everyone. Okay, this is not just for me. This is the number 1 top keto snack. Nothing at all. What is the best thing you can snack on when you got idle time, when you're thinking about food, when you're staring into the fridge, thinking, what can I eat? You know what the best thing you can eat is when you're on keto? Nothing at all. Snacks on the ketogenic diet are not necessarily productive. Yes, I will say, if it's between eating a snack and falling off the rails, which is something that I've talked about all throughout this whole hour, if it's between falling off the rails and eating a snack, by all means, eat one of these snacks, okay? I'm not joking. Eat one of these snacks. Blazin's got it. Water. Look at that. That's an awesome snack right there. Nothing at all is what you should snack on when you're on the ketogenic diet. Snacking keeps your insulin from dropping down as low as you really would like it. So what we really want to do with the ketogenic diet is get insulin out of the equation. Okay, most of us who studied this would say that insulin in the blood all the time has caused us all kinds of problems, from insulin resistance to inflammation. And getting the insulin to an all-time low gets a lot of that inflammation out of there. And it gets you into a position not only for better ketosis, but also so that your body can do some restorative work through the process of autophagy. So when you're really thinking about, plain Kerrygold butter, you know what? I just eat regular butter. But, if you can afford Kerrygold butter is the bomb. In Wisconsin, you can't even get Kerrygold because in Wisconsin, they've got their own dairies and they made some laws about Kerrygold. You can't. Anyway, some couple got busted for having a freezer full of Kerrygold stuff. So, nothing at all. And I will talk about intermittent fasting in next week's talk. Okay, that'll be the topic of next week's talk. But I just want to touch on it real quick and say nothing at all is the number one snack. And that brings us to just where we can free ourselves of having to tax ourselves and keep our blood sugar up. Now, I know a lot of people who are carb burners, they have to snack all the time to keep their blood sugar from plummeting and freaking out. So, or they might be hypoglycemic. But if you look at Kelly Tan Peterson, who just wrote the book West, I think it is. It's East. It's her Asian keto cuisine cookbook, and she talks about how eating keto, being introduced to her now husband, who taught her how to eat ketogenic, it cured her hypoglycemia. So people who are hypoglycemic, they have to eat all the time just to keep their blood sugar up. You live in Wisconsin and you've still gotten it? Okay. Well, then maybe I stand corrected. But I did hear about a Wisconsin couple that got busted for having Kerrygold products, a freezer full of Kerrygold. Stop bringing snacks to work. Stop bringing snacks to work. You just bring bone broth. If you get hungry, then that's your choice. You get bored at work and learn to bring snacks and eat them. Yeah. And the other thing is that, like I said, through this whole hour, Tracy, if it's between that and falling off the rails, I would say eat one of these snacks. Go back, watch the replay, and write down these snacks. You know what? If it's between you and if you're between a rock and a hard place and you're going to fall off the wagon, the best thing to do is to not fall off the wagon. So you do whatever it takes, right? So, we got the bottom of the list, dark chocolate, then fat bombs, then avocados, then hard-boiled eggs, then nuts, then cheese, then pepperoni sticks, then pork rinds, then bacon. Then, number one, nothing at all. Write those down, okay? That's important because having a little arsenal of something quick that you can find, or, you can go to a convenience store and 80% of the convenience stores, like 7-Eleven and Plaid Pantry and even the Rayleighs, they'll have hard-boiled eggs in the deli section. You can just get hard-boiled eggs. It'd be a very satisfying snack. Better in a pinch than eating some kind of junky keto product. And you'll notice that there isn't a single keto marketed product on here I don't talk about I'm not talking about Atkins bars. I'm not talking about pure protein bars. I'm not talking about a protein shake or none of those things. I'm talking about real food items here. Right on. So sweet. That's great news, Maggie. That's fantastic. I love to hear stuff like that. Give me a picture of it. Send me a picture of it. That'd be fantastic. Okay. So we've talked about that. Let's talk about these books, okay? Because I got like just a couple minutes. I'm just going to rattle off these titles, okay? And then I'm going to pick off, as soon as I end this stream, I'm going to pick out a person, a random person from those who have shared this video. So make sure you guys are sharing this video all across all kinds of platforms right now, and post in here that you shared it and where you shared it. And I will pick a random person, totally at random, who has not won anything in the last 4 weeks from me, and I will give one away. So we got Good Calories, Bad Calories by Gary Taubes. We have Grain Brain by David Perlmutter. Okay, I'm gonna bring up my thing so I make sure I'm looking at it in frame. Okay, come on, bring it up. There we go. Grain Brain by David Perlmutter. We have Wheat Belly by William Davis. Make sure you guys are sharing this in all kinds of groups and platforms, and post in here that you shared it and where you shared it. The New Atkins for New You by Eric Westman. Stephen Finney. It is 5 o'clock, isn't it? Oh my gosh. There we go. By Eric Westman, Stephen Finney, and Jeff Volek. This is the book that Tim Noakes got his life changed all over. The Primal Blueprint by Mark Sisson. We have Eat Fat, Get Thin by Mark Hyman. We have The Complete Book of Food Counts by Corinne Netzer. It's a very thick book. We have The Diabetes Diet by Dr. Richard Bernstein. Now, this guy's like 85 years old. He's a type 1 diabetic. He has totally got his blood sugar under control, and he is helping people right and left to get their blood sugar under control, both type 2 and type 1 diabetics. He is a type 1 diabetic, so he knows what he's talking about. Why We Get Fat and What to Do About It by Gary Taubes. And I've got both the hardcover and the soft cover of this book. This is where we get that food list that I post in the group. The Protein Power Life Plan by Michael and Mary Dan Eads. And this Michael Eads is also the guy who came up with the concept of net carbohydrates, by the way. Hi, Sherry. Welcome to the stream, and hi and bye, I guess. Dr. Atkins Carbohydrate Gram Counter. It's a very brief book, but it's got some of the fundamental foods that you could eat and some of the foods that you should not eat. Talks about those as well. So those are the books, guys. If you want to get one of these books, I will pick a random person who shares this video with other people who post that they shared it, and I will pick a random person and send you a book free of charge, media mail, if you're in the United States. If you're not in the United States, all you have to do is come to my house and I will ship it to my front door for you free of charge. All right. So I want to thank everybody for being in the stream. I want to thank Vengeance for moderating over there on the YouTube side. And I want to thank Sherry for stopping in to help moderate for the last couple of minutes of this stream. Awesome. And I want to remind everybody, if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, go over there to the YouTube channel, BroBryceHealth, and subscribe. I've also got a cooking channel where I occasionally post some of my recipes. I really need to get on the ball and edit some of these cooking videos that I have and put some of my recipes up there. I'm also on Twitter, on Facebook. You can add me and follow me and all of that business. And then if you feel so inclined to support me, I do have the Patreon account there. It's at the very bottom of that little placard over there, and you guys can drop a little something in there. And yeah, thanks, Sherry. Thanks. Also, as well, I am thinking about doing a paid meal planning program. It depends on how much how much action I get on the Patreon account. If I were to get enough action on the Patreon account to be self-supporting and not have to charge for meal planning or anything like that, then I would dearly love to just devote my time to doing this Q&A stuff instead. Because I feel that there are guys out there that do meal planning and they do a great job of it, and they do it for hire. I would rather not do things for hire. I would rather do things for free and have it be self-supporting. That's what the Patreon account is there for. But if I don't really get a lot of support on the Patreon account, then I will have to do something. So let me know your thoughts on that, and you can keep that. You know, Isabel, I hate that saying, everything in moderation. Yeah, not everything in moderation. Sugar should not be used in moderation. It should be used not at all. Fructose should not be used at all. So let's just, you know, we say lots of fat, moderate protein maybe, and then we say no sugar. You don't need any sugar. Not everything in moderation. You don't need deadly nightshade in moderation. Anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in, and we will see you guys next week right here, same bat time, same bat channel. And yeah, that's true. Yeah. Everything in moderation. I don't know. I really didn't exercise moderation back then either. So I'm not sure. We could talk about that. Everything in moderation. Maybe we'll do a topic on everything in moderation one of these weeks. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. I love you very much. And please let me know your thoughts in the comments here. Even if you're watching this on replay, please, please, please leave your comments and your questions in the comments, and I will try to revisit them and reply. So thank you very much for tuning in. I will see you next week at 4 p.m. Pacific time, once again, right here on the BroBryceHealth YouTube channel, Facebook group, and Twitch channel. Thanks again. I will see you soon. Bye-bye.
Turn. Now not because she looks so hot, they can also feel the burn. The temperature is rising and the sprinklers turn on. The time I saw what happened in my mind, it would come true, though before long. I'm not blind, girl, I must confess. You could scorch muffins if you touch them when you wear your evening dress. I need a glass of water, I need fresh air. I tried to get some loving, but the room is like I don't know when you're in here. Where the smoke, there's fire, that's what I was taught. The theory very clearly when you look so smoking hot. With the fireproof gloves on, maybe we could touch. But I've learned that I don't wanna be burning you away too dangerous. I'm not blind, girl, I must confess. You could scorch muffins if you touch them when you wear your evening dress. I need a glass of water, I need fresh air. Get some loving, but the room is like I don't know when you're in here. Yeah. I'm not blind, girl, I must confess. Scorch muffins if you touch them when you wear your evening dress.